Hey everyone! Today we are talking about the trend of taking high doses of creatine. Health influencers often claim you need 20 to 30 grams of creatine daily for brain benefits. They suggest standard doses of 5 grams are insufficient for cognitive function. This advice encourages people to take massive amounts indefinitely rather than just for a short loading phase. Clinical trials show high doses cause significant gastrointestinal symptoms in most users. A study published in Research in Sports Medicine found 67% of people taking 20 grams daily experienced bloating. 50% reported water retention, and about a third dealt with diarrhea. 1999 study by Dichent and colleagues measured brain creatine levels using magnetic resonance spectroscopy. Participants taking 20 grams per day saw brain creatine increase by only 8.7% after 4 weeks. This increase is statistically significant, but much lower than the 20 to 30% increase seen in muscles. The blood-brain barrier limits creatine entry through a specific transporter protein called SLC6A8. This transporter operates near saturation already, so there is a hard ceiling on absorption. Taking 50 grams per day would not force more creatine into the brain because the transporter works at maximum capacity. 2024 systematic review, published in Scientific Reports, confirmed limited exogenous uptake by the central nervous system. Brain creatine increases remain modest between 5 and 15% even with long-term supplementation. Muscles achieve near-complete saturation, while the brain transporter becomes saturated first. Excess creatine converts into creatinine, which is a waste product filtered by your kidneys. Your body eliminates the extra amount through urine when you take more than the needed 3 to 5 grams. Harvard Health states that loading up on a higher dose offers no advantages and puts more stress on the kidneys. 2008 study by Ostojic and Amatovic studied soccer players over 28 days to measure digestive issues. They found the risk of diarrhea increased significantly when creatine was consumed as a single 10-gram dose compared to split doses. Doses above 3 to 5 grams per single serving increase the likelihood of gastrointestinal distress. A recent study published on MedRxiv in October 2025 examined symptoms associated with creatine monohydrate over 28 days. The loading group received 20 grams per day for the first 5 days and showed a clear trend toward greater frequency of symptoms. Authors noted that tolerability at 20 grams per day is a recognized challenge for treatment of neurological conditions. A 2025 review published in Frontiers in Nutrition examined safety concerns around creatine ingestion across multiple studies. They found gastrointestinal issues are the most commonly reported adverse effects, and these effects are dose-dependent. 30% of athletes exceeding the recommended maintenance dose experienced diarrhea in one study. High-loading doses of 20 grams per day cause noticeable water retention and puffiness in about half of users. This is intracellular water retention that is visible and uncomfortable for many people. Body mass typically increases by 1 to 2 kilograms in the first week of loading due to fluid pulling into muscle cells. Creatine supplementation causes a benign rise in blood creatinine levels without indicating actual kidney damage. This can cause confusion in blood tests because doctors think your kidneys are struggling when it is just the supplement. 2024 review covering 685 randomized controlled trials found no significant kidney-related concerns at standard doses. The Dichent 1999 study and a 2003 study by Lyo and colleagues found high-dose supplementation reduced brain levels of N-acetylaspartate. This metabolite is associated with neuronal integrity and function within the brain. This finding indicates we do not fully understand the long-term effects of pushing brain creatine levels beyond their natural range. A 2018 systematic review, published in the journal Nutrients, examined the effects of creatine on cognitive function in healthy individuals. They found that people who already have adequate creatine intake from a normal diet will see the smallest increases in brain creatine. Cognitive benefits are most evident under conditions like sleep deprivation or in populations with low baseline levels like vegetarians. 2024 systematic review published in Behavioral Brain Research concluded that results for effects on cognition are equivocal. A study published in 2023 did not observe changes in cognitive performance in young adults supplemented with 10 or 20 grams for 6 weeks. Well-rested healthy young adults with adequate diets see minimal or non-existent cognitive improvements. Creatine acts as an energy buffer in the brain, similar to a backup generator, rather than fuel for a tank. The generator sits idle at rest when the main power supply is adequate for your brain function. You do not need 30 grams of creatine to keep the generator ready because you need consistent daily intake instead. The International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends a simple protocol of 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day, every day. No loading phase is required for this method to work effectively over time. You can take it at any time of day with or without food because consistency matters most. You can do a loading phase of 20 grams per day, split into 4 doses of 5 grams each for 5 to 7 days if you want faster saturation. Splitting the dose is critical to avoid taking 20 grams in a single serving, and drop to 3 to 5 grams daily for maintenance to reach the same endpoint without gastrointestinal distress. 3 to 5 grams daily is sufficient for brain benefits because the brain accumulates creatine slowly over 4 to 8 weeks. Taking more does not significantly accelerate this process because of the blood-brain barrier transporter limitation. Studies show taking creatine with a meal containing carbohydrates can slightly improve uptake, but this is not essential. Research shows that about 20 to 30% of people are non-responders to creatine due to physiological factors like genetics. If you are taking creatine and not noticing any benefits in the gym or cognitively, you are simply a non-responder. Doubling or tripling the dose will not change that status for your body. The trend of taking 20 to 30 grams of creatine per day for brain benefits is not supported by the evidence. High doses cap brain increase at around 5 to 15% while causing bloating and diarrhea in the majority of users. 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate taken daily is safe and effective for regular people seeking physical and cognitive benefits. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.